Hi my lovelies, it's Bully and I'm in Australia. Yes mate, that's right, Australia. I have an Australian passport, but you didn't know that about me. And look, it was a real drama getting here. My Australian passport had expired, so I booked a ticket and I thought I'll come in on my English passport. And then I decided, I discovered you have to have a visa. So I was like, no worries, I'll apply for a visa. Applied for a visa, didn't come through, booked my ticket anyway. Then the Australian consulate said, look, our records show that you have an Australian passport, so you need to come in using that. So I was like, okay, well there's going to be some dramas at the airport, I can tell, but no worries. But the shit hit the fan 48 hours when I tried to check in online with Singapore Airlines. I couldn't check in with my British passport because it didn't have a visa, and I couldn't check in with my Australian passport because it had expired. So I thought, I think I'm screwed. Called up a friend of mine who used to work for Delta, and he said, no, what are you talking about? You're going to be fine, you've got an Australian passport. I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think they're going to let me travel without a valid travel document. And which just goes to show, when you're talking to experts, sometimes they don't know any better, you know, especially with lawyers or even accountants sometimes. Certainly my last accountants, I've got a good one now. So I was like, no, I don't think so. He said, you know what, I'll check. He checked, sure as shit, is shit. Yeah, I had to go to the Australian embassy. I had to get an emergency passport, which was a beautifully simple experience. You simply hand them your credit card, and that got taken care of. But it meant I arrived 5 days late. But you know, the dear little old lady who runs my Airbnb, she said, oh, that's all right, I'll make those 5 days up to you. Which she didn't have to do. That was jolly nice of her. So I arrived in Australia, super happy to be here. Really feels like a homecoming. And but around Tuesday, I was having a call with my coach on Thursday, and I've set some pretty aggressive new business targets this quarter. And I was like, where's the jobs? And it suddenly dawned on me that the coronavirus was having a massive impact on my industry, and I didn't panic, but I could really feel the fear sort of like well up inside me. And you know, self-centered fear is what sabotages me more than anything else. So I was like, how am I going to deal with this? So what I did was I doubled down on church. I doubled down on the number of meetings I was going to. I actually think I hit something like 6 fellowships in 1 week, which I think might be a record. There is great recovery in Sydney. And I found a beautiful, I do mass at the St Mary's Cathedral, and there's a great church just across the road from me. And what I had to do was I had to reignite my faith. I had to understand, you know, which is a premise that obviously the church says this, but in recovery too, there's the idea that God has a plan. And a lot of that time that plan is unknown, but it's a great plan. It's better than anything you could have come up with. And certainly over the past 8 years, I've seen evidence in my own life to know that's true. I called my sponsor, who was very good, because it so happens that I'm using a recovery tool at the moment called Inventory. And as part of that, there's a fears inventory. And so what I was doing was digging into those. And he said, write your top fears, and then I need you to pray about them. And the first prayer that you do is you look at the fear and you say, God, if I was completely reliant upon you, would I have this fear? And of course, no, none of them. And the second prayer is, God, please take this fear from me. Please take this fear from me, remove this fear from me, and guide me towards what you would have me be. Which I've also done. He said another couple of very wise things. He's good, he is. He said, I want you to make sure that the word today is active in all 3 of your vocabularies, and that is thinking, praying, and talking. Okay? And he also said, fear. He said a couple of things. He said, fear is low-grade atheism, which is what my first sponsor, Dave, used to say a lot, which I've loved. And he also said, he said, fear is going into the future without God. And, you know, look, being in recovery, one of the central tenets is live in the day. You know, the 2 days I can't do anything about or worry about is yesterday and tomorrow. thankfully the future is divided up into 24-hour segments. So this has been a real opportunity for me to sort of like double down on faith, to stay in the day, and to think about how I can be of service to clients through what's going to be a really, really difficult time. Because, you know, people are worried about being sick. When I went through my fear inventory, it's not just being sick, it's fear of mortality, it's fear of death. And unfortunately what comes along with this is that, you know, the actual, you know, a lot of the, I think the media is handling this really, really badly and should be ashamed of themselves and will no doubt end up in a very dark place. But a lot of the response for this is to get people to isolate, and that breaks our connectedness with each other. And humans are herd animals, and so when we feel unconnected, when we feel disconnected, that's when things can really go wrong. Because the reality is that the true danger from the coronavirus comes not from physically getting sick, but from the psychological effects of anxiety, of fear, of social dislocation, stuff like that. So I had a double dose of church today. I went to mass, just went to a church service, and for me it's just an opportunity to really sort of like, you know, move forward in faith, focus on what I can do today. And tomorrow I'm going to put together, you know, my favorite soundbite from recovery is faith without works is dead. So for me, faith is my spiritual, and also to a large extent my mental health. It's about mindset, but also what's equally important is works, the action plan that I'm going to put together. So I'll probably do one of those videos in the week, but in the meantime I think now's the time to sort of like batten down the hatches, know that you know, we're all probably going to be less busy than we were used to, and try and enjoy that. I mean, that's what one of my friends said. He said, look, if there's less work on, you're in Sydney, enjoy yourself. It's like, oh yeah, hadn't thought of that. So that's what I'm going to go and do now. Have a lovely Sunday, and I shall speak to you in the week.